Welcome everyone, my name's Sylph, and this is my attempt to beat a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Platinum with only fighting-type Pokemon. If you've seen our challenges, you know the rules, and you can check below the video for a more detailed list, but put simply, only the first fighting-type encounter in a given route or area can be caught, no duplicates, and no legendaries. If a Pokemon faints, it must be permanently boxed, no items except held items in battle, party Pokemon levels are limited to the next gym leader or Elite Four's ace, and finally, the battle mode must be put on set at all times. With that said, what exactly does Platinum have to offer in terms of fighting types? Well, it's a bit of a complicated question. In theory, these are all the fully evolved fighting types that would be available for us. One problem is that we can't get Machamp since the Hardcore Nuzlocke rules don't allow us to connect with other games, meaning we're stuck with Machoke there. There are two other really interesting situations when it comes to these encounters, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. With 7 total potential encounters, this is one of the more limited monotype challenges for sure, which should prove challenging, but for many reasons which you'll see, I'm excited for it. If you haven't already, make sure to come along for the journey by hitting that subscribe button, as most viewers of this series aren't subscribed since it might just slip their mind, but it really does help. Let's do this. Now I think it's obvious what starter we'll be choosing here, the absolute legend, Turtwig. Alright fine, we'll take Chimchar. As per our other challenges, we're allowed to use our starter until the very first possible moment we can get a Pokemon of the right typing, after which the starter must be boxed. Chimchar does get the fighting type upon evolution, but since we won't actually be able to use it in battle, we'll have to wait until we can get the XP share to evolve it. Our Chimchar ends up having an impish nature, which is plus defense and minus special attack. Infernape is kind of a mixed attacker, so this isn't fantastic, but definitely not the worst we could have gotten either. I named Chimchar Hothead, but as I was playing through the intro, I was like, something looks off here. It wasn't until I saw another D, the letter, you sick f***s, that I realized I typed Hot Hiao. Let me fix that real quick. Our rival battle goes off smoothly, and right after this is the first time we can get access to a fighting-type Pokemon by going straight through Orberg and north to the patch of grass on Route 207 where we can find a Machop. We catch one and name it Brian. Mr. Brian here has a docile nature which is neutral, and I'm totally fine with that, and he also has the Guts ability which increases his attack power if he has a status condition. Personally, I'm a big fan of No Guard, which means its attacks can't miss, which works great in combination with Dynamic Punch and Stone Edge, but Guts can definitely be useful too if we find a way to set it up safely. After this, we're forced to deposit Chimchar, but I'm sure we'll see him again soon. While grinding Machop up, he learns Karate Chop, which is a 60 power move with a high critical hit ratio too. Not bad at all. Once we're level 13, I decide to hit up the first gym. Now, despite the fact that we only have one Pokemon, I'm feeling quite confident for this gym. Not only are we super effective against everything in it, but Machop's also got a pretty decent defense stat too. The gym trainers are a breeze, and it's time for our first gym leader, Rourke. Due to another challenge run we've got going on Twitch at the moment, I always get nervous heading into Rourke, but this time it feels real good to finally stand a chance. His Geodude survives a Karate Chop and hits us with Rock Throw, after which Rourke uses a potion, but we take him out with 2 more hits. He next sends in Cranidos, which goes for Pursuit for some reason, even though we resisted, and he has a perfectly good headbutt move. Strange. It gets blown out of there with another Karate Chop. Onyx comes in, and we also have Low Kick, which does more damage based on how heavy the opponent is, so Onyx being a big boy ends up being his downfall. Man, does it ever feel strange being able to defeat Rourke so easily. First gym badge acquired. While leaving Jubilife, we run into Mystery Man, who ends up threatening Dawn's life. Professor Rowan just does not give an absolute f*** and proceeds to literally enumerate all the things that are wrong with this dude. This man is getting absolutely roasted. He will never be the same again. While in Floroma Town, I'm reminded of one of the great difficulties we're likely to have during this run, the honey trees. You see, one of our potential encounters, Heracross, can only be found in these trees and is like a 1% chance of being found in them. Honey trees only produce a Pokemon once every 6 actual playtime hours too. No, adjusting your game clock does nothing, so this is a grim prospect. Honey trees are a ridiculously complicated thing, but basically 4 trees in the entire region are what's called a Munchlax tree, where, yes, Munchlax can be found, but it also increases the odds of finding other rare Pokemon like Apom and Heracross up to about 5%. There are online tools where you can use your trainer ID to find 2 of your Munchlax trees, and amazingly ours end up being the first and third trees you can find. My strategy is just to put honey on every tree I find and hope for the best throughout the run. At the Valley Windworks, we have a scary battle against Commander Mars, and one that I had lost in a previous attempt of this run. This time I decided to get the Rock Tomb TM from the Ravaged Path and teach it to Brian ahead of time. This is because she starts off with a Zubat, which is super annoying and we couldn't damage much at all. This time she hits us with Bite and flinches us twice in a row. Yikes. But then she goes for Toxic, which now that we actually have a move that can hurt it is fantastic since it activates our Guts ability. This allows us to take it out with Rock Tomb. In comes her Purugly, which is actually a terrifyingly fast and powerful Pokemon, and it hits us with Fake Out immediately, which combined with Toxic brings us below half. She then outspeeds and goes for Scratch, which brings us to just 12 HP, after which we can take it out with a Stab super effective Guts boosted Karate Chop. Phew, that was a mouthful. Without Rock Tomb, I sincerely don't think that battle would have been possible at all. After trekking through Eterna Forest, we make it to Eterna City, where I can finally get the experience share. Unfortunately, we haven't seen enough Pokemon to get it yet, so I head to the next route to find some new Pokemon, and funnily enough, we actually run into a Monotype here. For some reason during my research, I had written down Mount Coronet as the first location that we can get Monotype, but apparently I was just off, but I'm not complaining. We catch Monotype and name it Prophet. Those of you who have seen our Ruby Psychic only playthrough will know why. Prophet has a brave nature, plus attack, which is really good, and minus speed, which is really bad, but it balances out, I suppose. After a few more encounters, we've officially seen 40 Pokemon and can get the experience share. We get Hothead back on the party, and while grinding Monotype up, I put the experience share on him, and eventually he evolves into Monferno, meaning we officially have a third fighting type Pokemon. Nice. Now those of you who have played through the Gen 4 games having chosen Chimchar, I'm sure you know how easy this next gym battle is. I typically go with either Piplup or Turtwig, so I'm new to this, but it is exhilarating. The most Gardenia has is that her Turtwig does use Reflect since it survives a Flame Wheel, but if anything this just kinda slows the process down since most of her Pokemon can really just do Magical Leaf and that's about it. So her Turtwig and Cherrim are quick work. Her Roserade does survive a Flame Wheel and gets a Stun Spore off on us, but we're able to break through Paralysis and take it down with about half health remaining. I'm liking the way this is going so far, but I'm not getting overconfident with what's coming up. While preparing for the Galactic building, I found this little nook on a random route, and this girl is here, and she starts talking about being flirty and proceeds to give us the TM for Captivate. Look, lady, I know it's quarantine and all, but you gotta chill. This whole situation is not okay. Right outside Galactic's Eterna building, we find the TM for Thief, which I'm thinking will be useful later. The Galactic building goes smoothly, and we end up finding Commander Jupiter at the end. Against her Zubat, our Quick Claw actually activates, and we hit it hard with Rock Tomb, but it survives and hits us with Wing Attack hard to below half. Thankfully, the speed drop allows us to outspeed it on the next turn, as I wasn't sure, and we take it out. Skuntank comes out next and hits us hard with Night Slash, but thankfully no crit, and we get brought to 13 HP before hitting it hard with Karate Chop to about half. I have to switch here, so I go into Hothead, who tanks Night Slash well and is able to take it out with a few more Flame Wheels after her Citrus Berry. Could have been very scary, but we managed that well. While leaving Eterna, we run into Cynthia, who offers us an egg. I'm forced to decline, but she says, "I only want to lend you a little hand, that's all." She's too sweet. Alright, I'll take it, just don't tell the viewers. With that, it's time for what I fear most in my life, the Ghost-type Hard Home Gym. The trainers in the gym are tough but manageable, as Meditite helps against Ghastlies with Confusion, and Machop helped against Drifloons with Rock Tomb. And I also taught Machop Thief since he's the only one on our team who can use it. But Fantina is not so manageable. I was forced to wipe and lost 3 entire runs, having to restart the whole game from the start because of her stupid Mismagius, which outspeeds everything on our team and has super effective moves against all of them. I tried Calm Mind spamming with Prophet, Guts activation with Brian, Burn Avoiding with Hothead, and nothing was working. I get all of our Pokemon to the max level cap, and Fantina starts with Duskull as I lead with Machop, trying to bait the Will-O-Wisp so we can get our Guts ability activated. Thief does about half, then the Duskull goes for Pursuit, which isn't the burn, but at least it's not Future Sight like a couple other times. Knowing we need the burn, I go for Rock Tomb so we don't KO, and thankfully the Duskull does Will-O-Wisp on this turn. Fantina uses a Super Potion, and then Thief is a 2-hit KO from there, as we're brought to about 2/3 after the burn. She next sends out Haunter, which uses Shadow Claw, but thankfully we don't get crit this time, and our Oranberry helps us out a bit before we 1-hit KO it with Thief, which would have killed without the crit anyway. In comes Mismagius, and this is the best we're going to be able to get it at, so I go for Thief and pray. For some reason, I can't possibly fathom why, she goes for Magical Leaf, so we survive on 3 HP and can use Thief, which does about half damage and steals her Citrus Berry. Oh my god. That's what I was desperately trying to get off this whole time. From here, there is nothing I can do though. Neither Monotype nor Monferno can take 2 hits from Miss Magius on a forced switch, so I had to sack Brian. Really upsetting, but at least he's the one Pokemon on our team we wouldn't be able to fully evolve anyway. I send in Hothead here, she uses Psybeam which hurts us really bad down to a third, but thankfully Flame Wheel is able to do the job from here. My god, give me the badge and get me the f*** out of here. Almost immediately after, we have a battle with Barry with only 2 Pokemon. He leads with Staravia, which intimidates Hothead off the bat, but I decide to go for Flame Wheel and hope for the burn since there's nothing else we can do. It does about half, and Staravia goes for Double Team, but we do hit it again with Flame Wheel, and it lives on what must be 1 HP and hits us hard with Wing Attack. Thankfully, Priority Mach Punch does the job. Prinplup comes out next, and this is the perfect opportunity to get rid of the attack drop by switching into Profit, who proceeds to hit it hard with Force Palm and paralyzes it, but Prinplup still hits us down to 12 HP before we can take it out. Rosalia comes out next, which is a great chance for Hothead to come back in, tank the Mega Drain, and take it out with Flame Wheel. Last is Ponyta, which is taken out with 2 Mach Punches. Barry, please leave me alone until I have more Pokemon. Along the way to the next gym in Veilstone, we pick up a few upgrades like the Brick Break TM, a Fist Plate, and also teach Monferno Shadow Claw, which we got from Fantina. This whole stretch involves a lot of trainers, so we had to really struggle to keep under the level cap with only 2 Pokemon, but attaching our experience share just makes it possible. The Veilstone gym is a fighting gym, so we're kind of on an even playing field with the gym trainers, although Meditite's Psychic typing does help. We did have one super close call with the Heracross though that brought us to 9 HP. Whew. Gym Leader Maylene starts with a Meditite, and I decide to actually lead with our own Meditite.
You what?
She hits us with Fake Out for the flinch, then I use High Jump Kick on the next turn to bring it to about a third. She uses Rock Tomb to lower our speed, then we get hit by another on the next turn to below half, after which we can take it out with Force Palm to ensure accuracy. Machoke comes out next, and with our lowered speed I'm nervous, but we survive a strength on just 3 HP before doing about half with Confusion. That was uncomfortably close. I'm forced to switch into Monferno here, who gets hit by Rock Tomb on the switch for the speed drop, but Flame Wheel gets a crit to take it out. Lucario is our final Pokemon, and we get hit down to 33 HP with Force Palm and paralyzed. We break through and hit it hard with super effective Flame Wheel, then due to paralysis I opt for Priority Mach Punch and we make it through for the KO. Wow. Even without the crit on Machoke, we still would have survived. It's just the unfortunate paralysis that made that utterly terrifying. Thank God for our priority move though, that was definitely the key. Given that 6 hours have passed since my last Honey Tree round, I decide to go check on them. Floroma gives us a Cherubi, Valley Windworks gives us a Combi, and Route 205 gives us no fucking way. The third tree we checked gives us a Heracross. Granted, it was one of our Munchlax trees, but still a 5% chance. Unfortunately, I realized I forgot to stock up on balls, but with just 6 balls left, we successfully capture it. I name it Hercules and find out that it has a careful nature, plus special defense and minus special attack, which is perfectly fine with me. Finally, we have another team member. On our way to Pastoria, Hothead evolves into Infernape and also learns Close Combat, which should be quite a great help. Upon arrival, we actually have access to our next encounter too, Krogunk. However, Krogunk is only available in the Great Marsh on certain days since it's one of the changing encounters in Platinum, so instead of just hoping he's in there, we can actually go to Route 212 instead, where it's a 10% chance to find one. I don't know why, but this took me ages to find. You'd imagine you'd find one in every 10 encounters or so, but I swear to God I encountered at least like 75 Pokemon before encountering one. Eventually we catch one and name it McGregor. Come on, he can be a little toxic sometimes. McGregor has a bold nature, which is plus defense and minus attack. Are you kidding me? Absolutely brutal. Along this route lies what I think will be one of the keys to this run. One of the Shard move tutors. This dude has a bunch of moves we need like Thunder Punch and Zen Headbutt. I'm forced to go hunting for shards across the region, especially in the Great Marsh where... come on. I got them. And we got the damn moves. Happy? While grinding Krogunk up, I lost my damn mind as we actually found a shiny Weasel. Keep in mind, this is one of those games where shinies are a 1 in 8,192 chance. I actually lost my mind. Not only that, but I captured it, Shiny Claws activated, and it ended up having a modest nature, its best one due to coverage moves and the Swift Swim ability. This thing is literally perfect. There's no damn way. I name it GoldenEye and pop it in the PC. That thing is our new lucky charm. While grinding, Prophet ends up evolving into a Medicham, and as much as I'm gonna miss the little garlic head, this is the kind of power we need. As our Kricketot only Platinum run taught me, Barry of course ambushes us right outside the gym, and I lead with Medicham, who, despite the Intimidate, one-hit KOs Staravia with Thunder Punch. Wow, impressive. But then Prinplup survives one, then hits us with a Bubble Beam, it crits, and we survive on literally 5 HP. Goodness gracious. I switch into Hercules and Aerial Ace finishes that stupid thing off. Ponyta comes out and I switch into Hothead, who takes him out with 2 solid close combats, and Rosalia is an easy KO with Flame Wheel. Now that we actually have some Pokemon on our team, that was much more manageable. Look here, you little ambush me again and I'll march right over the battle frontier and tell your father The Pastoria gym is a bit concerning for us, or at least it was before we managed to get Thunder Punch. But we still have to be careful. We make it through the trainers pretty cleanly and it's time for Wake, the water gym leader. What really worried me is that he leads with Gyarados with Intimidate, but Prophet's Thunder Punch is a one-hit KO nonetheless. Floatzel comes out next and hits us with Crunch, but Thunder Punch does a lot of damage and his Citrus Berry activates. He then uses Brine to bring us to about a third, but we can take him out on the next turn. Quagsire is a tough cookie for us as Ground is super effective against 2 of our Pokemon, so I send in Hercules, who's probably our best bet. Mudshot gets a crit and lowers our speed, then I use Brick Break, which does slightly over half. He hits us with Rock Tomb to lower our speed, but amazingly we're still faster and can take him out. Definitely a gym that could have been scary, but with Thunder Punch and just the right amount of sufficient pivots on our team, we did a pretty solid job back there. Following this, Barry asked us if Cynthia's our sister. No. Hey, hold on a minute. Is she yours? The striking blonde hair, the exceptional battling skills from perhaps a father who also has striking blonde hair? Both of you started your journey with Professor Rowan too, holy sh**. Did we just solve Gen 4? With access to routes 208 and 209, we technically have another opportunity for a new encounter, Ralts, which eventually evolves into Gallade with a Dawnstone, which we do have and which is part fighting type. I prayed so hard that we would get a male Ralts, but on both encounters we got female. Since we're only allowed the first viable encounter in each route, it technically was not meant to be. That stings. On our way to Celestic Town, we pick up the TM for Shadow Ball, and McGregor evolves into Toxicroak and also learns Poison Jab, which should be quite solid for coverage. While on a date with Cynthia's grandma in the Celestic Ruins, Cyrus of all people shows up and interrupts by asking her on a date in the middle of our date. As per the Code of Honor, we must now do battle to win her heart. After getting hit with Ice Punch, Medicham smacks Sneasel down with a 4 times effective Force Palm. We also outspeed and one-hit KO Golbat with Zen Headbutt. Murkrow somehow outspeeds us though and hits us with a Drill Peck to just 2 HP, but Thunder Punch does the job. My god, what in the world was that? Apparently Murkrow's base speed is 1 singular point higher than Golbat's. Noted. I thought it would be lower than that, I guess since Honchkrow's speed is 20 points worse than Murkrow. We arrive in Canalave City, and before we can challenge the gym, we have another rival battle with Barry. He leads with his now fully evolved Staraptor with Intimidate, and because it keeps using Double Team, Prophet has huge difficulty hitting him. Eventually, we get hit by an Aerial Ace to well below half, but our Thunder Punch finally does hit, but it doesn't do enough. Uh-oh. My best bet is a priority move now, so I switch into Hothead, who tanks an Aerial Ace with less than half, and thankfully lands the Mach Punch despite the evasion boosts. Empoleon comes out next, and in a sense is now worse for Barry now that it's evolved, since it has the Steel type now, which makes it an easy KO with close combat. Barry's Heracross comes out next, and I'm a little worried we won't KO, but don't want to force the switch for a free hit, and Flame Wheel does indeed fail to KO, and he hits us with an Aerial Ace, but we live with 8 HP. Flame Wheel can then finish him off. Rapidash comes out next, so I'm forced to switch into Toxicroak, who tanks Takedown pretty well and is able to respond with 2 revenge attacks to take it down at a bit below half health. Roserade is his final Pokemon, and I realized that Heracross is a pretty good counter, resisting basically all of its moves, and we're able to take him down with an Aerial Ace as he just spams Toxic Spikes. Some close calls, but a solid battle overall. After that, we're able to grab our 6th and final encounter of the run by heading over to Iron Island. After helping Riley get through the island's caves, he gives us a gift, a Pokemon egg. We frantically bike up and down in Canalave City like a madman for 10 minutes, and the egg hatches and gives us a Riolu, which we nickname Cobalt. Cobalt has a hasty nature, plus speed and minus defense, which works for me. I'm really thankful we got this thing when we did, as we were struggling to remain below the level cap, and now we can just use him instead. I take Cobalt through the Canalave gym trainers with the experience share, during which we came close to losing Medicham to a Raging Scizor, but we made it through. Now I actually decide to use Riolu as a special attacker, as it gets some great special stab moves, has a great special attack, higher than his attack actually, and we only have physical attackers otherwise, so I think it's a smart move. To help him evolve faster, I hit up the Massage Girl and Veilstone, and also attach the Soothe Bell on him to increase his happiness level. I then teach him the Payback TM so we can have something to hit ghost types, and proceed to grind the heck out of him in the Old Chateau against Ghastlies, which gives special attack EVs. The process is slow, but it works, as Riolu eventually evolves into Lucario, and after leveling with higher level Pokemon elsewhere, he eventually gets to level 38 and learned Aura Sphere as well, a fantastic stab move. I can't level him up too much, as we do need a bit of a buffer since the next gym's cap is only 2 levels higher than this one at level 43. I'm feeling pretty confident about Byron though, as all his Pokemon are Steel type and are weak to fighting, especially a special attacker like Lucario. As it turns out, we were indeed well prepared, as Lucario proceeds to one-hit KO every single one of his Pokemon with Aura Sphere, since they're more physically bulky, and Bastiodon of course has a 4 times weakness to fighting. Amazing. Not only that, but Byron also gives us the Flash Cannon TM for winning, which is the perfect move for Lucario. This whole place was just made for Lucario, I swear. Can't get too confident though, as we only have 5 Pokemon remaining. Alright, I kid you not, this has to be like the 3rd time we've dealt with explosions in this game. What in the world were the developers thinking? Every step I take in this game, I'm worried about another BAM and I shit my pants in front of Cynthia or something. We defeat both Jupiter and Mars at their respective lakes with relative ease and make the grueling journey to Snow Point City after a few close calls. One of the girls in the houses makes an intriguing trade offer. Her Haunter for a Medicham, which we actually have. However, I'm pretty sure this is the girl who attaches an Everstone to the Haunter so it doesn't evolve when you get it.
I shall not fall for your sorcerer's ways today, demon.
It's time for the Snow Point City gym, yet another gym that we're super effective against. Although this Glalie survives a Force Palm on 1 HP, gets paralyzed, doesn't care apparently, and nearly takes us out on the next turn. Guess we have to be a bit more careful than I thought. Also, I always talk about how much I hate this gym puzzle, and this time it was like glitched in my game. I have no idea what this is all about, but it made it even more confusing than it already is. It's time for Gym Leader Candace, and I'm being cautiously optimistic about this one. She starts off with a Sneasel, and I lead off with Infernape. Now Sneasel actually outspeeds us and has Aerial Ace, so I go for priority Mach Punch to take it out with that sweet 4 times effectiveness. Piloswine comes in next, and since it has Stab Earthquake, I can't take any chances, so I go for Close Combat, which lowers our defenses of course. In comes Frostlass, and the speed tier is very close, but I risk it, and the Flame Wheel does hit first, but it survives in the red. Oh, I kind of wasn't expecting that, but in all honesty, I didn't do the calcs like an idiot. Psychic hits us hard, and we survive on 5 HP to take it out. My god almighty, that was dumb. Abomasnow is next and summons the Hail, and I'm like, man oh man, we can't switch anything into that monster. So I actually did the calcs this time, and thankfully we were guaranteed a KO with Flame Wheel's 4 times effectiveness. That was almost a brutal loss. I'm very grateful we didn't get punished. It's back to Veilstone as we have to dominate the Team Galactic headquarters. Now Cyrus is one of the trainers in this game that I'm most scared of, since he loves his flying types and now has an Air Cutter Crobat and Drill Peck Honchkrow. For this battle, I made sure to thoroughly prepare, leveling up with a couple rare candies, attaching a magnet to Medicham to boost Thunder Punch, and calculating every step of the battle. I knew that at this level and with these stats we'd be able to take down every single one of his Pokemon with Medicham. Cyrus starts with Sneasel and goes for Ice Punch, and are you kidding me? We get frozen on the very first turn. Suddenly my whole world has been turned upside down. Now what? Sneasel hits us again and we still don't thaw out. This is bad. I'm forced to switch into Infernape, who gets hit by Quick Attack before taking him out with priority Mach Punch. In comes Crobat, and he outspeeds us to hit us below half with Air Cutter, and Flame Wheel does hardly anything. Since Lucario isn't weak to flying due to its Steel type, I send him in next, and he gets hit with 2 Air Cutters to below half before getting a Flash Cannon off, which barely doesn't kill Crobat. After he uses a Hyper Potion, we bring him down to less than a quarter, but we're too hurt. I have to switch, as even Quick Attack would only do about 12 to 14%, and he's probably got around 20% health. Problem is, nothing can take 2 Air Cutters in a row off a forced switch. Medicham and Infernape are weak, Heracross is 4 times weak to flying, McGregor is my only option. Upon switching, McGregor gets hit to below half with Air Cutter, but then we can use Priority Sucker Punch to take out Crobat. That's good, but Honchkrow is up next. The best I can hope for is a crit with Poison Jab, but we don't get it, and Toxicroak gets taken down with a Drill Peck. Our second death. That one stung a lot, as without the freeze, we would have been fine, and we're already limited enough in our Pokemon. Lucario comes in and saves the day with the Outspeed and Flash Cannon. That was a rough battle. Right after this, I was really proud of myself since I actually remembered that the Saturn battle happens immediately after, but I was so thrown off that I actually looked at his Diamond and Pearl team where he starts with a Kadabra, and I was going to use Infernape's Shadow Claw, but I ended up leading off Infernape against Golbat. Dear lord. Nonetheless, we're able to make relatively easy work of him thanks to Medicham. After making our way through Mount Coronet, we're met with a combo attack from Jupiter and Mars, but a combination of Medicham, Lucario's amazing typing for dealing with both Skuntank and Purugly that absolutely stops both of them in their tracks, oh, and Barry's sweet moves obviously, we handle them with little issue. It's time to follow Cyrus into Giratina's giant hole. Alright, that could have been worded better. We traverse through the parallel universe for an hour with the help of the deranged pixies, and arrive at our final destination. I was gonna say a place, but how exactly do I locate where we are? Our final destination here, to battle Cyrus for the last time. This time around, he has a Houndoom which he leads with, and although Infernape could be viable here, if he sends in Honchkrow or something next, that wouldn't be so good, so I send in Medicham first. Since I know Houndoom has Will-O-Wisp, I put a Rostberry on Medicham, but it goes for Flamethrower instead, which does big damage to under half. Force Palm is able to take it out in one hit though. Honchkrow does indeed come out next, and thankfully we do outspeed and can execute our strategy we had last time we battled him before we got frozen, taking him out with Thunder Punch. Crobat comes in next, which is quite scary, so I go into Lucario instead. On the switch, Lucario tanks an Air Slash for above half, gets hit by another one to bring him to 23 HP, doesn't flinch, and is able to take the Crobat below half with Flash Cannon. We can't live another one though, so I'm thinking we're doomed here. I decide to switch into Infernape since he's like the only thing we've got left that can tank one, and Cyrus switches into Gyarados. What in the world? Why did he switch? He could have just taken Lucario out. I'm immensely confused, but I go for Thunder Punch, and it takes Gyarados out. What just happened? Like, actually? Crobat comes back out, and I have to hope for no flinch. We survive with 43 HP remaining, and take him out with Thunder Punch. Weavile is his last Pokemon, and unfortunately I actually got rid of Mach Punch for Thunder Punch, which has been good so far, but is a bad mistake right now. I'm forced to switch into Heracross, who gets hit by Fake Out on the switch. Weavile then uses Ice Punch, but Heracross survives with 23 HP in the red to take him out with 4 times effective close combat. Man oh man, I have no idea why he switched, but I'm happy he did. That saved us. After the battle, Cyrus leaves. I don't know where he thinks he's gonna go down here, but okay. After arriving in Sunyshore City, it's time to take on our 8th and final gym, the Electric Gym, led by Volkner. We both do neutral damage on each other, but I know his team is fast, so we've got to be careful. I attach a Cherry Berry on a few of our Pokemon and go for it with Medicham first. Jolteon hits us with Charge Beam, which also raises his special attack, but Force Palm does the job with a crit. Electivire comes out and hits us with Thunder Punch to 30 HP and paralyzes us, but our Cherry Berry activates and we hit him with Zen Headbutt, but it doesn't KO and his Citrus Berry activates. I'm forced to switch here, so I go into Hothead, who gets rocked by a Thunder Punch before we can take him out with Fire Punch. Raichu is sent out next, and we actually outspeed it with a Fire Punch, but we get paralyzed by its ability Static. We then get hit hard by Focus Blast, and Raichu is barely alive, but he'll outspeed us now that we're paralyzed, so I switch into Hercules. Volkner uses a full restore, and after getting hit I go for Brick Break, which does the job. But Hercules also gets paralyzed. Not good. Volkner's ace comes out next, Luxray, and I have nothing to switch into, so I get hit by Fire Fang, but thankfully we break through paralysis to one-hit KO him with close combat. That was a messy battle, but we made it through for our 8th gym badge. Victory Road is, well, Victory Road, and we make it through to arrive at the Pokemon League. I decide to prepare now by giving our team a bunch of upgrades such as TMs like Earthquake on Infernape, Grass Knot on Medicham, and items like the Wise Glasses for Lucario's special moves, the Wide Lens if we need it for Heracross, etc. And also leveling us up to around the level cap, which is Lucian's level 59 ace, while trying to max out EVs where we can. Oh, and before the Elite Four is another rival battle, but he's scaled well below the Elite Four, and since we're all prepared, this is a pretty easy battle. Sorry, Barry. Probably really demotivating. One good thing about the Sinnoh Elite Four is that their levels range from 49 to 59, meaning being near the level cap we have a bit of an advantage over the earlier trainers, but I'm definitely not counting my chickens before they hatch. First up in the Elite Four is Aaron, the Bug-type specialist. For Aaron, I actually brought Infernape to relatively low health using the water Pokemon outside so that we could activate his Blaze ability under a third health to power up his fire moves. In a sense, it is a risky play, but I did all my calcs and it should work out. Aaron starts off with a Yanmega, which we're able to outspeed and one-hit KO with a Blaze-boosted Fire Punch. Nice. Now the one threat on Aaron's team is his Drapion, but I had gotten the Earthquake TM from the Wayward Cave and taught it to Hothead. Literally right as I pressed the move, I was like, oh wait, I forgot to attach the Soft Sand item on him as planned. Oh my god. Because of that, Drapion lives on a sliver in the red, his Citrus Berry activates, and he hits us with a super effective Aerial Ace, but we survive on 4 HP. Oh my god, I thought it was GG. I would have been kicking myself for the rest of my life for that. I literally forgot to attach the crucial item that made the calcs work in the first place. Oh. We can take him out, and then Heracross and Vespiquen are clean sweeps with a Blaze-boosted Fire Punch, but then his Scizor comes out, and I know for sure we can't take a priority Quick Attack right now, so I'm forced to switch into Lucario, who's able to get the job done with a couple of Aura Spheres. Man oh man. Up next is Bertha, who scares me a lot. Ground is a dangerous type for us since both Infernape and Lucario are weak to it, and her coverage is pretty good too. She sends out Whiscash first, and I go for Medicham. Knowing Whiscash isn't that heavy, I go for Zen Headbutt instead of Grass Knot, which actually gets a crit on the first turn to take it out. I mean, the flinch would have had the same effect, so I don't feel that bad about that. Gliscor comes out next and outspeeds us with Earthquake, but 4 times effective Ice Punch does the job. Next comes Hippowdon, and I was hoping for either Golem or Rhyperior here for the 4 times effective Grass Knot, but I think because Hippowdon has Crunch, she sent it in first as it's registered as being super effective against Psychic in the programming. Because we got the crit on Whiscash, we're better off than I was expecting, so I keep Profit in and go for Grass Knot anyway. Hippowdon survives it below half and hits us hard with Earthquake to 13 HP, and the Sandstorm brings us to 4. That was close. I'm forced to switch into Heracross here, who gets hit by Crunch, then we could get the job done with a close combat, which I had to use since that thing's defense is really high. We do get the defense drops after each close combat of course, so I'm desperately hoping we can take out the next 2 with it as well, since we do have the Fist Plate on Heracross. Golem does indeed go down, and thankfully Rhyperior does too. Hercules is a beast, what can I say? Next up is Flint, the Fire-type Elite Four member. His typing is also super effective against 2 of our Pokemon, Heracross and Lucario, and since he leads with Houndoom, I decide to go in with Infernape. Since Infernape resists most of their stab moves, I'm hoping I can just blitz through with Earthquake as much as possible. Yes, with the Soft Sand item actually attached this time, and switch into Medicham if needed. Let's see how it goes. Hitting like an absolute truck, Infernape is able to smash through every single one of Flint's Pokemon with Soft Sand boosted Earthquake. What an absolute legend. Poor Flint. It's not like we have some brand new powerful Pokemon he's never seen before and he's on his knees in awe of its power. He literally has the same Pokemon, his just sucks. It's time for the final Elite Four member and the one that I'm scared of the most, Lucian. Not only do his levels more closely align with ours, but he's also a Psychic-type Elite Four member, which is super effective against fighting obviously, and very hard for us to do damage on. I studied his team for a long time and came up with what I thought would be the best strategy. Leading with Lucario with the Wide Lens and Shadow Ball. Leading with Infernape to start is tempting, but Shadow Claw wouldn't kill Espeon unless it was a crit, and which would one-hit KO us with Psychic, so I can't risk that. After using our last rare candy on Lucario, I did the calcs and it was arranged to kill Mr. Mime. However, I figured it would either try to use Psychic to take us out, or set up Light Screen maybe, since Lucario's special attack is higher than its physical attack. Not only do we get a low roll on Shadow Ball and it survives, but it also uses Reflect instead, and I can't fathom why. Lucario's special attack is its highest stat, and we have all special attacking moves. Why, God, why? This ruins my plan entirely. I stay in with Lucario and go for Shadow Ball after his full restore, and I'm like, hey, at least that stalls out Reflect a bit, after which we can take him out. Now here's where my strategy falls apart. I know he's going to send in Gallade next for the Drain Punch, at which point I can send in Profit. But Profit won't survive a Drain Punch followed by a Psycho Cut for instance, and we cannot lose him. After like 5 minutes of thinking, I decide I have to stay in and stall out the Reflect. There's no other option besides hoping for a Zen Headbutt flinch. According to my calcs, there's also about a 40% chance we'll survive a Drain Punch, so I go for Shadow Ball with Cobalt. It does good damage, he goes for Drain Punch, and gets a high roll to take us out. Ouch. If we had survived that, that would have been perfect, but nope. Knowing that Reflect needs to go down, I send out Infernape as bait for hopefully the Stone Edge, and he does indeed go for it as I switch back into Medicham, who tanks it well, and the Reflect finally goes down. It's time. A Mind Plate boosted Pure Power Stab Zen Headbutt does the job since it's neutral on Gallade. Next up is Espeon, who uses Shadow Ball. We survive on 15 HP, and Return only brings it into the red. I'm forced to switch into Infernape here, and Espeon goes for Quick Attack. I was expecting another Shadow Ball, and Shadow Claw takes it out. Alakazam comes in next, and thankfully we outspeed it and take it out with Shadow Claw. Bronzong comes out last, and thankfully Lucian's is Levitate, not Heat Proof, so we can hit it with Fire Punch to the red. He just goes for Calm Mind, followed by a Full Restore, and 2 more Fire Punches get the job done. Cobalt was a very unfortunate loss, but it's time to try and take on the champion, Cynthia. Cynthia's team is obviously terrifying, and like Lucian, I spent a lot of time thinking about how we should approach this now with only 3 Pokemon left. I determined my best bet was to lead with Heracross with the Wide Lens for its high power and low accuracy moves like Mega Horn and Stone Edge, since he's the only one that can do any damage on Spiritomb at all. And just try to do as much damage as possible, since I figure she'll send in Togekiss for the 4 times effective flying move if we can make it through. Mega Horn just barely doesn't KO the Spiritomb though, and we get hit hard by Psychic. Cynthia then uses a Full Restore, and we can take it out in 2 more hits. She does indeed send out Togekiss next, and my only choice is to go for Stone Edge, and thank God for our Speed EVs and our Wide Lens as we outspeed and hit it to about a quarter left. Heracross then gets KO'd by Air Slash. It was definitely a necessary sacrifice. We love you, Hercules. Now here, I could either send in Infernape or Medicham, but I knew if I went Infernape and killed Togekiss that she'd probably just bring Milotic out, and that would not be good. Medicham, on the other hand, she wouldn't switch in Roserade or Lucario since they're both weak to it, so it'd be either Milotic or Garchomp. We take down Togekiss with Ice Punch, and she decides to send out her Lucario. Oh, why? I realized it was because she doesn't actually have a Stab Steel move on it. She has Shadow Ball and sent it out on that basis even though it's weak to fighting. That's not good. Upon retrospect, I could have possibly sent in Infernape here, but Shadow Ball and then Extreme Speed would do big damage, and Infernape isn't guaranteed to KO with Fire Punch even. Regardless, Lucario outspeeds us and hits us with Shadow Ball, which does massive damage and then gets the special defense drop. Our Brick Break then takes it out, and I'm terrified of what's to come. And she does indeed send out Garchomp. Well, that's it. Earthquake KOs both of our remaining Wait a minute, she went for Dragon Rush, and it missed! What the f***? Why? Why would she do that? I actually screamed when this happened. She went for a 75% accuracy move that has the same power and type effectiveness as another 100% accuracy move, and they're both stab. I don't understand. Dragon Rush has worse accuracy than Stone Edge. Is the programming just set up so that she went for whatever equal power move was in an earlier move slot regardless of accuracy? Oh my god. We take it out in 1 hit with a Never Melt Ice boosted Ice Punch. Milotic comes out and we go for Zen Headbutt, which actually does 3/4 damage, after which she doesn't flinch and takes us out with Surf. In comes Infernape, and my lord, close combat takes Milotic out, then her Roserade is a KO with Fire Punch. That's it. No one can ever put disrespect on Medicham's name ever again. That was a bloody miracle. We did it. Platinum Hardcore Nuzlocke with only fighting types is complete thanks to one of the worst AI misplays I think I've ever seen. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It really helps a lot and grows our community. A huge thanks to my YouTube members and patrons who make these videos possible. If you'd like to support and get your name up here, the links are also down below. If you enjoyed, drop a like to help the video out and leave a comment letting me know what kind of run we should do next, and I'll see you guys for our next challenge video.